Good evening, and you're all very welcome to Water Safety Ireland's National Award Ceremony for 2020. My name is Sheila Shoiga and I'm delighted to be your MC this evening. And as we all know, things are very different this year due to the pandemic. Unfortunately, it's prevented the rescuers and rescuees from meeting each other at Dublin Castle, but we still felt it was important to officially recognise all of your incredible acts of bravery. So it's my pleasure to shine a light on these rescues here this evening. An average of 10 people drown in Ireland every single month. And although one drowning is one too many, this figure would have been much higher had it not been for the courageous people that we're about to recognise here this evening. These awards celebrate people who saved others from drowning and the volunteers that give so much of their time to help teach children and adults the life-saving skills they need to stay safe at our waterways. We'll also highlight some additional awards, including Water Safety Ireland's Volunteer of the Year, Sportspersons of the Year, Life Governor, and some Community and Social Responsibility Awards as well. But before we get going, let's hear a few words from the Chairman of Water Safety Ireland, Martin O'Sullivan.
Welcome. Fáilte gach aine den ócáid speisialta seo. Good evening, everybody. My name is Martin O'Sullivan, and I am Chairman of Water Safety Ireland. To all of you who saved lives, I wish to say thank you. And to all of you who are worthy recipients of awards this evening, I say congratulations.
A wonderful video there showcasing the important work that water safety volunteers and lifeguards do every single day to save people from harm. Now let's hear from the Minister for Rural and Community Development, Heather Humphreys.
Good evening, everyone. I am delighted to address you this evening at your National Annual Awards Ceremony. In normal circumstances, I would be able to meet you all in Dublin Castle. But unfortunately, COVID-19 has changed every aspect of our lives and means we have to gather virtually for celebrations such as this evening's. Although this year's awards are virtual, this does not take away from the courage and conviction shown by our brave awardees. To each and every recipient of an award this evening, you should be really proud, and I extend my heartfelt congratulations to you all. Through your bravery and selflessness, you have ensured that lives were saved and that families were spared the trauma of losing a loved one. What a wonderful and unique achievement, one that you will rightly carry with you forever. COVID-19 has certainly put a spotlight on the selfless efforts of our volunteers nationwide. In terms of water safety, these volunteers give freely of their time to ensure that swimming and life-saving skills are taught to thousands of adults and young people annually. And for that, I say thank you. Without doubt, as we find ways to overcome the pandemic and return to water instruction safely, your work will be more important than ever. Drownings happen irrespective of a pandemic, and just as we are doing this evening, our volunteers are adapting and planning ways to continue delivering their invaluable work to save lives. In line with government guidelines and in the spirit of social distancing, Water Safety Ireland's 30 area committees have decided to wait until next year's awards to celebrate the long service of their volunteers. I would like to thank all the lifeguards that were trained and assessed by Water Safety Ireland, who did such a wonderful job lifeguarding the waterways around Ireland during a very busy and challenging summer. Thanks to their efforts, hundreds of people were saved from drowning and thousands received first aid. You are a credit to the organisation, and I am deeply thankful for everything that you did to make the summer a safe and enjoyable one for so many families. I would also like to thank our other emergency services who play a vital role in the saving of lives, particularly our Irish Coast Guard, the community inshore rescue boat stations and the RNLI. I'd also like to acknowledge the media who play a vital role in partnering with Water Safety Ireland to highlight the importance of water safety and the need for us all to be vigilant on or near water. I also commend the committee volunteers, the board and the staff of Water Safety Ireland for your efforts in raising awareness of the potential dangers associated with water-based activities. Thankfully, the number of drownings in Ireland is falling, yet we still average 120 a year. That's 10 every month. So, as we all adhere to government guidelines and restrictions, my message is to take care of yourselves and your loved ones near any waterways or along the coast, close to your home. If we all make water safety a part of our lives, a part of the conversations we have with loved ones, we can play our part in protecting families all over Ireland. Remember, better safe than sorry. So, in conclusion, this evening has many good news stories of bravery, hard work and volunteerism. It is a celebration that acknowledges the selfless actions of many. My sincere congratulations to every single one of you, and I look forward to meeting you in the not too distant future.
Thank you, Minister Humphreys. The lifeguards certainly do amazing work, and this summer they saved nearly 500 people at our waterways. But this evening we're here to recognise the people in our midst who never expected to save a life from drowning, and yet that's exactly what they did. Okay, our first category of awards this evening are the SACO Just in Time Awards and Rescue Appreciation Awards, which are presented to those who helped to save someone at risk of drowning. A total of 51 people were saved by 67 rescues in 32 incidents, and because there are so many to get through this evening, you'll find more information about each rescue on watersafety.ie. Without their bravery and their quick thinking, the outcomes could have been very different. Our first recipients this evening are Sam RODDEN and PATRIK Orals. Students Sam and PATRIK were returning to school when they spotted somebody in the river. They ran along the riverbank, throwing a ring buoy as the current took him away, but the man submerged and didn't resurface, so they got into the river and they pulled him out. They got him into the recovery position, got blankets to keep him warm, and he regained consciousness just as the emergency services arrived, and thankfully he made a full recovery. Congratulations and well done once again to Sam and PATRIK. Our next recipient is Jack Nolan. Jack was returning to the harbour from a fishing trip, and as he passed a lighthouse, he saw a woman in the water. He was wearing a life jacket, so he jumped in and he saved her and stayed with her until the emergency services arrived. Well done, Jack, for your quick thinking and your bravery. Our next recipients are MCMAHON, LYNN McCarthy and BETH DERRAR. Niamh was surfing when she saw 4 friends in danger of drowning. She paddled over and pulled one person onto the board while another held on tightly. Beth and Lynn were walking along the shoreline, and after getting people to call the emergency services, they grabbed a ring buoy and swam out to help Niamh. Exhausting for everyone, but thankfully they all got back to shore safely. Well done and congratulations, Niamh, Lynn and Beth.
Hi, my name is David. I've been surfing for about a year now. I really enjoy swimming in the sea. It's a great exercise, lovely way to hang out with your friends and just clear the head. I've been getting into it a lot more lately. My brother and I have some old surfboards at home in Limerick, and we decided to try and make use of them as much as possible. A couple of weeks ago I just was down and I was really excited about going surfing, but I was alone. I decided to head out anyway. For a while I was really enjoying myself. After catching a pretty good wave, I was heading back out and went to duck under a wave. When I got thrown from my board, when I was under the water, I could feel a snap of my leash breaking. When I finally came to the surface, I realised that my board was nowhere to be seen, so I started swimming, and after a while, after making no headway, I found I was exhausted. Thankfully, around that time, a local surfer who was nearby came to my aid and assisted me back to shore. I learned a lot of really good lessons that day, mainly being always surf when there's people around, never surf alone. Try and get some local knowledge from surf instructors or lifeguards in the area. Try and improve your skill set by way of swimming instruction or life-saving instruction, because you really never know when these things could save your life.
Our next recipients are Jamie Venner, Cillian Foster, Richard McSweeney, Kate Horgan and Harry Pritchard. These 5 teenagers were fishing in a rigid inflatable boat when they saw a 9-year-old boy on an inflatable toy being swept out to sea by a strong current, along with the boy's father, who was swimming to save him. The boy made it back to shore, but the father was left exhausted and clinging to a marker buoy in the strong current. Thankfully, the teenagers were in the right place at the right time to save his life. Congratulations once again to Jamie, Cillian, Richard, Kate and Harry. Our 5th recipient is CONNELL Dolan. CONNELL certainly put his training as an emergency medical technician to good use when he saw a woman in danger of drowning. Without hesitation, he got into the water and brought her safely to shore, where he checked her vital signs and put her in the recovery position in an effort to drain excess water. She made a full recovery thanks to the bravery of CONNELL. Well done again. Our next recipients are Nathan Holding, KEOHANE and Conal O'Herlihy. A father and son were caught in a very strong rip current, but thankfully Nathan, Cathal and Conal were able to use their boards to help them. The father had become exhausted fighting the current, but after some time the boys got them all safely back to shore. Another wonderful rescue, so well done to Nathan, Cathal and Conal. Our next recipients are Gardaí, Adrian Corcoran, Mick O'Connell and Dave COUGHLAN. Adrian got into the high and fast-flowing river to save a woman in danger of drowning. Sergeant O'Connell soon arrived and got in to help Adrian bring the woman to the riverbank, where Garda COUGHLAN also helped to pull the woman to safety. Thank you for your bravery and quick thinking, Adrian, Mick and David. Our next recipients are Gardaí Niall Lennon, Mark Murphy and Sergeant Leo Kiernan. These 3 Gardaí came to the rescue not of a person, but of a dog that had become entangled in a water buoy and was drowning. Luckily, they were able to avail of a local fisherman's lake boat to rescue the dog and get it back to its worried owner. Well done, Niall, Mark and Leo. Our next recipient is Garda Nigel Desmond. Nigel arrived at the scene to find a man semi-submerged in freezing cold water and holding on to a ring buoy that had been thrown to him. Nigel jumped in straight away and kept the man's head above water, and with some help managed to get close to the riverbank until Cork Fire Brigade's swift water rescue team arrived. Well done again, Nigel. Our next recipient is Garda FERGAL O'Connor. FERGAL arrived to the riverbank to find that several people had attempted to save a drowning man by throwing ring buoys in, but none of them had reached him. FERGAL immediately jumped in and used a ring buoy to keep the man afloat while his Garda colleagues pulled them both back to the riverbank and out of the river. Well done to you, FERGAL. Our next recipient is Sergeant Cathal O'Neill. Cahill's local knowledge proved invaluable in finding a woman who was brought nearly 200 metres away from where she was first spotted in the water. He called the emergency services and got into the strong current, and in poor visibility managed to find her and bring her back to the riverbank, where first aid was performed successfully. Well done, Cathal. Our next recipients are Gardaí Carol and Evan Guilfoyle. Both Carol and Evan used a temporary ladder to access a pontoon, where they managed to bring a man to safety from a strong current. Congratulations once again to Carol and Evan. Our next recipients are Gardaí Dean O'Sullivan and Dara Khan. Dean and Dara managed to avoid rocks as they swam a strong current to reach a drowning man and bring him to shore, where Dean performed CPR. Well done once again to Dean and Dara. Our next recipients are Gardaí James Brennan, Breda Fahy, Tom Kelly, Aidan Hines, Joyce O'Grady and Ken Warney. James used a rowboat to get to a drowning woman and hold on to her, while Breda and Tom used another boat to assist. They pulled the woman into the boat, and then Aidan, Joyce and Ken threw them a rope and pulled them all safely back to dry land. This really was a group effort, and well done once again to all of you. Our next recipients are John Boyle and posthumously to Dan Boyle and Brian Friel. People out walking Mullaghmore noticed from a distance that two men in a boat had lost an oar on their wooden boat and were in extreme difficulty. Brian Friel and Dan Boyle, local residents at the time, along with John Boyle, launched a boat and lifted the casualties on board. They were shaken and hypothermic, but thankfully they all made a full recovery. A very deserving award indeed. We're halfway through the 32 instance now, and our 16th recipient is Jane Friel. Jane ran to a mother's cries for help and saved 4 people from drowning in a strong rip current. After rescuing a 9-year-old girl with a ring buoy, she went back out to help the other 2 girls and their father, encouraging them to kick their legs as she helped them to shore. Well done again, Jane.
My name is Lily Barrett. This is my 5th summer lifeguarding and my 3rd year working here in Spanish Point. We see people getting into trouble with rip currents constantly. Generally, they're in an area of darker water. Often the surface of the water is unsettled, and if there are waves, they will be breaking on either side but not directly in the rip. People can get swept out to sea extremely quickly in a rip current. Often, once we see someone entering the rip, by the time we get down to them, they're already out of their depth. They need to be aware of the flags and the signs on the beach. A sign will often indicate if there is a rip current in the area, and if there is a red flag, that means it's dangerous to swim. 3 bits of advice I would give to people about rip currents. Firstly, it's to swim between the red and yellow flags. Red and yellow means it's safe to swim. Secondly, if they find themselves caught in a rip current, remain calm, swim parallel to the beach. This will get you out of the rip current and you'll be able to swim in. And if you can't do this, raise your arm and a lifeguard will be there to assist you. The best piece of advice I give to every beachgoer is very simple. Swim between the red and yellow flags, it's safest here.
Our next recipients are Gardaí Pierce Murphy and Gary O'Donoghue. Pierce and Gary used a ring buoy to pull a heavily bleeding man to shore, where they administered first aid and got him to hospital, where thankfully he made a full recovery. Well done, Pierce and Gary. Our next recipients are Garda John O'Brien and Reserve Garda Brian Murray. John arrived to a river that was heavily swollen due to heavy rainfall and could see a woman face down in the middle of the waterway. He swam with the ring buoy while his colleague Brian held the rope. However, the rope wasn't long enough, but nonetheless, John continued swimming with the ring buoy until he reached the drowning woman. He pulled the woman towards him and used the ring buoy to help him swim 20 metres back to shore, where both Gardaí administered CPR. Well done again to John and Brian. Our next recipient is Callum Keane. Callum was out for a walk when he heard 2 boys shouting for help. They got into difficulty in the rushes growing in the river. He swam to the first boy and brought him safely through the rushes to the riverbank. He then went back into the river to rescue the second boy trapped in the rushes. Congratulations, Callum. Our 20th recipient is Garda Liam Glendon. Liam, who's also a volunteer with Mallow Search and Rescue, received an alert that someone was drowning in the River Blackwater. He got to the scene quickly and swam to the drowning man, who soon made a full recovery. Well done, Liam. Our next recipient is Garda David Fenton. David, who is also a volunteer with the RNLI, received an alert that a woman was drowning near the pier. He swam to the woman and kept her calm and safe in the water until a boat arrived to take her to shore, where she was brought to hospital, and thankfully she made a full recovery. Well done, David. Our next recipient is Garda Dean Phelan. Dean received an alert that a man was drowning at the cove in Bray Head. He swam to the unconscious man, brought him to shore and placed him in the recovery position. Thankfully, the man made a full recovery thanks to Dean and the ambulance service. Well done once again, Dean. Our 23rd recipient is Garda Michael Carroll. When Michael received an alert that a man was drowning near the quay, he rushed to the scene, swam to the rescue and brought the man to safety. Congratulations to Michael. Our next recipients are Gardaí Brendan Crawford, Kieran Murray and Ciara Galvin. When a woman was pulled into the water by her dog, Brendan and Kieran tied a rope to each other and entered the water to rescue the woman, while Ciara held the rope securely on the riverbank to help them all back to shore. Well done, Brendan, Kieran and Ciara. Our next recipients are Jack Grove and Gardaí Christopher Smith and Jamie Lillis. Christopher and Jack swam to the rescue of a drowning man using a ring buoy to keep him afloat, while they all waited on rocks for the Irish Coast Guard, which was called by Jamie from the shore. The man was brought back to the pier and treated at the scene. Well done, Jack, Christopher and Jamie. Our next recipients are Gardaí Roisin O'Donnell and Keenan McGavisk. Roisin and Keenan entered the water and crossed the entire river using a torch to locate a man at the risk of drowning. They found him, rescued him and brought him to hospital where he made a full recovery. Well done again to Roisin and Keenan. Our next recipients are Callum Curtin and Kevin Sharkey. When a child was swept out to sea, Callum and Kevin grabbed their surfboards and rescued both the child and a person who tried to rescue the child but got into difficulty. Within moments, they saved 3 more children who were swept out by a strong current. Shortly after that, they saved another young girl and 2 adults who were trying to save her. Within 45 minutes, they had saved 8 people from drowning. 8 very lucky people there indeed who were saved by Callum and Kevin. Well done, guys. Our 28th recipient is Joe Breen. Joe paddled to help rescue 2 very distressed paddleboarders drifting out to sea on an offshore wind. As emergency services were called, Joe placed the woman on the paddleboard as her husband paddled alongside, eventually helping them both safely back to shore. Well done, Joe. Our next recipient is Jim Swift. Jim used a surfboard to help a young girl caught in a strong rip current at Tramore Beach. His quick response as the lifeboat arrived helped to ensure that the girl was taken to safety and assessed by the emergency services. Congratulations once again to you, Jim. Our next recipients are Clodagh West Keogh and Lorna Keogh. Clodagh and Lorna were painting on the side of the riverbank when they heard 2 men shouting for help downstream. Clodagh grabbed a ring buoy and ran towards the men who were struggling in the water. Lorna swam across the river to calm their young children who were panicking. Clodagh entered the water and twice used the ring buoy to save both men. Congratulations and well done to Clodagh and Lorna. Our next recipients are Tony Collins, Paddy Collins, Connor Hayes and Ben Tennyson. Tony, Paddy, Connor and Ben were walking across St. John's Bridge when they saw a man bobbing up and down in the water in distress. They grabbed a nearby ring buoy and threw it a number of times until they reached the man and pulled him to safety. Well done to you all. Our final recipients in the Rescue Award category are Patrick Oliver and his son Morgan. Patrick and Morgan rescued Ellen Glynn and Sarah Feeney, 2 paddleboarders who were swept out to sea and spent 15 hours lost overnight. As a massive search and rescue effort involving the Irish Coast Guard, the RNLI, local fishing vessels and many onshore walkers continued, Patrick and Morgan took to their fishing boat and found the girls clinging to a lobster pot southwest of Inisheer, after using their local knowledge to estimate where the currents might have carried them. An incredible example of trusting your instinct from Patrick and Morgan. Next, we have our Community and Social Responsibility Awards, which are presented to the following 3 people who are helping to promote water safety in Ireland. Our first recipient is Henry O'Donnell. Henry is well on his way to becoming the first person in history to circumnavigate Ireland by fin swimming the entire coastline. He started from his home in Carrickfinn, County Donegal on the 17th of September and has already managed to swim the entire Ulster coast and down into Leinster. Henry's expedition is a unique approach to raising awareness about water safety, and you can track his progress at finswim2020.com. Let's take a look.
My name is Henry O'Donnell from Carrickfinn in the Donegal Gaeltacht on the Wild Atlantic Way in northwest Donegal. This year I will attempt a solo fin swim expedition around the coast of Ireland. I learned to swim in the sea in the channel just below our family home. I have a lifetime of experience and training with Water Safety Ireland, and I am a qualified lifeguard, diver and swimming teacher. I have completed 4 years preparation and training for this particular event. And of course, safety is the #1 priority for everyone on the expedition team. We continuously undertake safety rescue drills and ongoing training to ensure the safety of all on the expedition. I am very proud and delighted to have Water Safety Ireland as one of 2 national charities to benefit from this particular expedition.
Continued success to you, Henry, and a massive congratulations. Our next recipient is Mary O'Donnell. Mary is a beach lifeguard in Cork, and she's illustrated fun educational resources that show children the do's and don'ts of water safety on the beach. She's also filmed a storytime piece with the Cork Beach Lifeguards for use in online safety education sessions with primary schools throughout the Cork area. Wonderful work, Mary, and well done. Our final recipient is Claudiu Potlog. Claudiu is a graphic design student, and as part of his master's programme, he researched effective methods to communicate important water safety messages to children and parents and developed animations with water safety tips and advice for children. Well done, Claudiu, and congratulations. Our next award is a Volunteer of the Year award, which is presented to someone who has made a significant voluntary contribution to promoting water safety in Ireland. And this year's Volunteer of the Year is Matthew Sills in Waterford. Matthew worked as a lifeguard on Tramore Beach and still provides training in a range of water safety disciplines from surf lifesaving sport to rescue boats. He's qualified as a doctor, and in his role as Water Safety Ireland's National Medical Advisor, he's been instrumental in providing guidance throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. He also helps at all local and national competitions and still volunteers with a local committee that developed a new National Lifeguard Training Centre in Tramore. Congratulations to our Volunteer of the Year for 2020, Matthew Sills. Next up is Life Governor of Water Safety Ireland, which is presented to a person who has made a significant long-term contribution to the prevention of drowning. And this year's recipient is Brendan McGrath in County Clare. Brendan has been teaching lifesaving and swimming for over 50 years. He's coached lifesaving sport at all levels and trained many pool and beach lifeguards, swim teachers and coaches. He also carries out risk assessments at waterways nationwide to ensure that they are safe for the public, and he continues to deliver safety classes to employees in the workplace. He's an active member of the Clare Committee since the 80s, and he played a major role in the building of a lifesaving training centre in Whitestrand. He served as a member of Water Safety Ireland's National Council for 20 years and has dedicated his life to water safety. The hugely deserving winner of this year's Life Governor Award goes to Brendan McGrath. Our final category is Sports Persons of the Year, and this year the award goes to 2 people who make the life-saving sport championships happen successfully year in, year out. Thousands of children and adults have benefited from their dedication and provincial and national competitions. Our first recipient is Katrina McMahon. Katrina is a volunteer for more than 10 years. She's the person permanently sitting at the recorder's table at all national pool and beach competitions. She's the meet manager expert and has spent many days in the rain ensuring that results are processed correctly and accurately. Her experience was invaluable when Water Safety Ireland hosted the European Junior Lifesaving Championships in 2018, where she ensured that all European and world records were correctly processed and agreed. Congratulations once again to our first Sportsperson of the Year award going to Katrina McMahon. And our second recipient is John Shannon. John is a volunteer for more than 15 years. He organises the equipment that is needed for all pool and beach competitions, and he's the expert when it comes to correct layout and preparation of all courses and events. Congratulations, John Shannon, the second Sportsperson of the Year award recipient. And that brings us to the end of our awards this evening. It's been an absolute honour for me to guide you through them, and on behalf of the many lives that you have saved, thank you. Your bravery and your selflessness have changed people's lives for the better. and it just goes to show how quickly an accident can happen near water. So if you're going to take one thing away from this evening, it's to continue to encourage your friends and your family to learn about water safety, and you can do so by logging onto the website watersafety.ie. Thank you so much for joining us for this evening's ceremony. Until next year, slán agus beannacht.